Hey everybody, welcome back to a very exciting thing that we are doing right now. A little bit of a podcast, maybe, a little bit of a video, who's to say? Not me, that's for sure. But I'm lucky enough to have one Stefan and Lee of Cannibal Video.
Hola.
What's up?
Stefan reached out to me, I don't know, like 3 weeks ago and sent me this trailer for Aquarium of the Dead and was very excited. So,
Oh, yes.
I reached out to Asylum, and they were very kind, and they sent us a screener. And I think we might be the only people to have seen this movie, aside from maybe the director. But who's to say he even saw the final thing?
He hasn't seen this.
But
He's on to the next project.
We checked it out, and it is directed by one Glenn Miller. Stars Vivica A. Fox a little bit, maybe you can say that.
She's in it.
She's in it, and apparently this is in the same universe as the Zoombies movie.
Yes, I was super excited about that. I didn't know that was a real thing until I saw it.
And there is some connective tissue once I did a little more research, so we're going to get into all that, though. But before we dive in, I'll just say this up front. We are going to get through spoilers. This movie's not out till May 21st, so we'll give some general thoughts up front, and we'll warn you guys when we get into spoilers, because we don't want to ruin the experience of Aquarium of the Dead for you, but we do want to talk about some things, so we'll get to it when we get to it. Stefan, what is Aquarium of the Dead about?
Aquarium of the Dead is the aquarium version of Zoombies. If you're not familiar with Zoombies, it is zombies at the zoo. This is zombies at the aquarium. And when I say zombies, I mean the animals are the zombies.
Yes.
The fish, the amphibians, etc., whatever they are. And it's your classic, B-movie formula that if you're in a group, you're going to enjoy.
Yes. A kind of an untapped genre. Zoombies was revolutionary in bringing the undead to the animal. I don't know, what do you want to call those? Just like, I remember a monkey. What else was in Zoombies?
Every single animal in the zoo eventually.
Was there a giraffe?
Yes, there was.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in years, but I never saw the sequel either. Which now
I bought the sequel, but I didn't watch it yet. I forgot.
Man.
I forgot it even existed until this came out, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this is in the same universe as Zoombies."
Yeah. We could be missing so many details that really would bring this thing together. But
maybe
So many Easter eggs. No, animals are terrifying without being infected with zombie virus, whatever. So it stands to reason that it would make it even worse.
Animals are terrifying. I don't generally find starfish to be terrifying, but I do now.
My opinion has changed.
I still don't.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. So, Lee, what did you think?
Well, I may need to lean on you, both of you, maybe Stefan more so, to kind of like level set me, because I found this to be like very incompetently made and like not funny enough to be worth the time. But I assume Stefan's like, I love this. It's my favorite movie. It was great. So we're gonna have to balance those two opinions out here, right?
I do think I enjoyed it more than you. I enjoyed Zoombies far more than I enjoyed this one. But this is potentially like the third in a series, so you can expect a little bit of a drop off. But I do think that it is fun. While I do think that while I could see how you take it as incompetently made, I think it's a series of choices, poor choices, but choices nonetheless that are like so this genre that I like. Every step of the way, you're like, why would that happen? Have you ever been to an aquarium? Do you know how life works? And they don't care about these little details. They're just making the movie they want to make.
I think I'm probably in between both of you here. I think the production values of this movie, what you see and you consider production values, are wholly because this movie is shot in a legit aquarium.
Yes, 100% is the issue.
Yeah.
You can't break things because you're in an actual aquarium.
But
to its credit, you're in an actual aquarium. That's
exactly.
Great.
So it's a double-edged sword, because it does look cool when you're in an aquarium, and it provides you with, it does provide you with production values, because you're like, wow, this is actually an aquarium. But then it's also like, well, none of this shit, we can't do really much of anything here. So
this all began with a phone call. We got it. We got the aquarium.
Yeah,
and like,
100%.
Down and going. But yeah, you can't cut to some weird like $20 fake tank and like do the interior of like whatever, right? You have to keep using the same aquarium, otherwise it's not going to make sense. So yes, that is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
They reuse a lot of the set a lot.
Yeah.
they reuse a lot, and maybe they were only allowed to shoot in specific spots. That could possibly be, but there's so much potential for me in this idea if this movie was ratcheted up and over the top and gory and like an adult horror movie, because this feels like a very neutered down sci-fi original Friday night thing where it has to be okay for everyone on TV. And
But a lot of those would have had an R-rated version that existed in the DVD world. While we got the DVD of this, so you know that this is not cut
This is
down
it,
from
yeah.
something. This is this. Which, yeah,
Yeah.
a little underwhelming in the gore department, of course. As
Do
a
you
horror
think that's
movie.
what drove the deaths? Was like concerns about depicting it, or just like they were like, nope, next, moving on, like that?
I don't. I mean, it's a justification for not having to actually film death scenes and everything's off screen or barely, shown. But,
Yeah. Well, CG is expensive, and what they did have, they couldn't use crazily. People did get a couple of cuts here and there, but mostly it's off screen or like, how did that guy die? I don't know. He's bleeding.
Yeah,
But
it feels
People
like
get like
wholesome.
dragged off or something.
It feels like wholesome a lot of times. Like, like I could show this to like my 8-year-old kid, and she would have
Yeah.
not be scared at all, and nothing is offensive in this thing. The humor and like in the dialogue is like,
yeah, kids buddy comedy for a bit.
yeah. So it's weird because this isn't going to be shown on Sci-Fi Channel, right?
I bet it will. I bet
some
it will
point.
eventually. I think a lot of what would make you toward that PG-13 aspect is they probably have constraints being that they're filming in an actual aquarium. They'd probably be like, well, you can't. We're a business here. We can't make it look like people actually died here. It's got to
Yeah.
look like this and that and whatever. The choices, I'm sure are tailored in some respect.
Is it a real aquarium? Did anybody Google?
I
like, the
googled
name?
that name at the
Yeah.
end. It said like it's like some guy and blah 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 blah, and then it has ENT and it cuts off, so you can't see the whole word. And when I googled that, I found out those people are like super rich and they've donated a lot to like disease fixing and like $29 million to like biochemistry or some shit. But I couldn't find anything about an aquarium. And then I was like, well, maybe the establishing shot outside isn't an aquarium. Maybe that is their heart research center or whatever, and that just is a stolen shot type of thing. But inside, they're for sure in an actual aquarium.
Yeah, but like the name they use and like the poster outside is probably just like fake for this
Because
movie.
I could see
Yeah,
them
for sure.
saying, "Well, you can't tell where you can't say where you are. We don't want to be
Yeah.
associated with a murder movie."
No one's gonna come here. They're gonna think all the animals are zombies.
Yeah,
I did see like when they were outside the aquarium, you could see like palm trees. So it's, I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
California, Florida, something like that maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't
One of the two.
recognize it.
no,
There's like a harbor or something, right? It's like a weird. It's like down by the something.
yeah. They made a couple of shots on that where you see that rock like guarded harbor area where the boats are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The like the Baltimore aquarium is super small. And then there's that one in New Jersey right over the bridge from
In
Philly.
Camden or whatever.
That's a little bit bigger, but still kind of small. So, I don't know. Aquariums generally aren't like massive, I guess. So maybe that is also a reason why it feels like we're repeating so much.
Well, I think because
hallways
even a small one is still like millions of gallons of
Yeah,
water,
I
and you're
know.
like, all right.
yeah, it's still ridiculous.
It's not the size; it's the volume. Come on, what are you talking about?
And that's the story starts to like, while the setup is fun and stupid and campy and all that kind of crap, the movie just like devolves into, well, I can't go here because the door's locked and blah 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 blah, and it's conversations back and forth with Vivica A.
Yeah.
Fox, who's sequestered out of this movie by herself because she was only there for 2 days or on a set for 2 days and didn't want to participate with the rest of the cast. So it's like repetitive and kind of boring during the second act.
It's kind of impressive that they even got her, honestly, because that's a real actress. I know she's done some a lot of B's recently, but still, I wonder how much of the budget went to grabbing her.
I took this
Yeah.
as a sign that like she's not a real actress anymore. it's over. I was googling like is that her? Am I confused? Oh no, it is. Oh no.
I mean, Bruce Willis does it nowadays, these horrible movies.
Again,
So-
huge paychecks though.
Probably, I'm guessing much bigger than Vivica A. Fox, but
Oh, for sure, for sure.
she's probably like one of the biggest things that costs money in this movie.
That's what I'm
So-
saying. Is I would not be surprised if a significant portion. It's like CG and her are
Okay.
like in a similar ballpark.
But here's the question I got for you.
Sure.
And not to put down Vivica A. Fox. She's, I'm sure, a lovely lady who's done some impressive movies over her lifetime. I don't even remember was she in Eraser? Does anyone know what she was in?
Was that her?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Who am I
I
thinking
honestly,
of?
if you ask me right now, I can't pull a
Independence
single
Day
thing
is
that
what
I'm
she
I was
was
like.
gonna say, isn't she
Yeah,
in
Independence
Independence
Day.
Day? Oh,
Um,
Kill Bill. Yeah.
but okay.
Good movies.
I'm making a movie. It's a horror movie. I'm like, I need a named actor to bring in the fans. I'm not bringing in Vivica A. Fox for my horror movie, right?
Well, you're not looking at it how they did, where they probably sent out 100 requests and one returned with a yes, and that was her. And then they were like, "You're our only choice."
This is all actually made from like her Cameo account, where they just kept donating $50 to get her to say each one of her lines. This
Hey,
is
that's
like
actually a
that.
great idea, Lee. I should do that. But I think by the end of the movie, she literally is green screened into like the same setting as the rest of the characters, and not physically there in person. And we'll get to some of that by
Yeah,
with some
we'll go
spoilers,
into
so.
that in spoilers.
There's a little bit of that going on here, but yeah.
Yeah, so would I recommend this to a casual viewer? Maybe in the background. But the problem is I did that on first viewing of this movie, and I had to stop and restart it because I had no idea what was going on, because there's so many conversations about plot points and then about why the animals are becoming undead.
Yeah, a casual watcher, this would be like taking a cyanide capsule. This is only for your like horror aficionados. If you're not like super into this genre, this is not for you. An average person on TV would turn it off as schlock. And not to say that it is not a schlocky film. This is clearly a low budget B movie, but that's what I'm into. So
Yeah.
I would say yes, check this out. This is goofy as fuck.
Now you got to put it on in the background, but that means giving up on knowing why. Why are they there? Wait, weren't they already there? Did they go back? What is that? I don't know. Like, just forget about all that and just look at them and go,
Especially
"Oh,
with
it's
set
octopus!"
reuse.
Yeah.
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 Like-
I do disagree with you a little bit, Lee. And I think the production quality is all right. I mean, the camera work is competent. You can tell what's going on. I did notice the sound, like the audio, the dialogue. A lot of it feels like they're using lapels, and you can hear the rustling. But they did something clever where this musical score, this like symphony, like cheap symphony, nonstop plays in every scene, so it hides a lot of the audio issues. I think.
Clever. Yes. No, like for me, editing is usually my like biggest trigger, and that's where the incompetence came into me with a lot of stuff. Where I'm like, there were things where I was like, "Oh, you like didn't have it. You didn't have."
Yeah, definitely for
like,
sure.
And then
Yeah.
you just put it in the movie anyway. You just like like make it work, and that always makes me go like, "Oh no." But yeah,
There's-
like individual shots and like individual things were all like whatever
Yeah.
was wrong in the movie.
I'll say you can't judge anything by its camera work anymore. You almost have to go for the editing because cameras are so good now that like
I
it's
know.
not like back in the day where I'm like, oh, they didn't, the camera's adjusting everything. Like you can pretty much make a movie with a phone now. So I would not say that, but the editing,
What
and
makes
I
it
will
all
say,
the more worse when it, when it is
Yes.
bad, when you're like, wait, you just you couldn't even do the basic lighting. What were you gonna say?
when
Oh,
when a
yeah.
movie when a movie is in this early screener zone, I won't judge certain things that might be related to the screener thing. But did anyone else catch? There's a lot of like hanging frames, like in edits, where like it cuts to something and there's like one frame of something else happening.
Yeah, that
And it
might
happened
have-
like 10 times, but it might be the screener.
That's what I was worried about, because there's like one kill where it was like, wait, what are they missing something here? And a specific kill that happened.
And
I don't
being
know
that
if
the
it
movie
was
doesn't
just-
come out
yeah.
for a month, like this might not even be the exact final version. And when we get into spoilers, I have a question for the group about that, but
Yes.
I'll
No, but
hold that off till we're in the spoilers.
that's why I
zone.
use the word incompetent, because it feels like there's a sloppiness or like an overall like we filmed pieces. It feels like a piece is missing, or like something repeats where it's like, wait, you just said that, or like, no, he didn't say that. You're reacting to the wrong thing. Oh no, what's happening? Because it feels cobbled together in like a weird way. That
Low
bothers.
budget movies.
I would wager that this thing was shot very quickly.
Yeah.
The zoo said, yes, you can film your movie here. Yes, you can do it Monday afternoon. No, you are not allowed to come back.
Yeah. In fact, never. You can't even visit as like a guest or customer or whatever. You're banned after the day's over. Yes.
What did you guys think of like the CGI?
In certain scenes, it was pretty good. Like there were some gators that I was like, for a while, that looked really good. Like other things, like what we're looking at right now,
It's questionable.
touch and go.
It's kind of
I-
fun.
It's kind of
Yeah.
fun. I think it's always a bold choice when you're like, I'm going to make this aquarium the most famous aquarium in the world for having the largest animals that you've ever seen, like record-setting crocodiles or alligators, and like an octopus that is a kraken.
Are crocodiles at aquariums?
Occasionally, yeah.
It's
Okay.
they were just like, what do we have the assets for in the bin? Like that's what's in the script, guys. Put it in there.
Wow.
Whatever.
Well,
Well,
while
yes,
I
they
totally
are.
agree with what you're saying, but yes,
Yeah.
like
They
same
totally
deal
are,
with how you
yes.
have penguins. Like they're not birds;
Yeah.
it's just everything aquatic has a section.
true.
There's sometimes like actually flying birds. Like you walk into like those like swamp areas where there are like the turtles and
Yeah,
the
you're right,
gators and
you're right.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
aquarium adjacent, so it's close enough. Yeah.
And I just take stuff to be like, I'll never judge anything for its like bad CG per se. Just to be like, that's just fun. You're just putting the idea of a crocodile into my head right now. I don't need it to be like, oh, it's real or whatever. Because I get it, right? That's like the fun part. I can go along with that.
Yeah, I think a more competent movie or a more budgety movie would have CGI creatures, but then when you go for the attack scenes or something like that, you would have a legit prop, a physical prop, hopefully. to
They
really
had
sell
one
the
or two
effect.
physical
I was gonna say,
props,
like-
just never in an action scene.
Like you would have produced a tentacle at some point, right?
Hey,
Had
there
it-
it is.
they had a slight angle of a shark. like that.
I'd like to think
Yeah.
that was 3 inches and it was just
Yes.
right in front of the lens.
No. There's a lot of that where we're like they're so locked into a certain angle where I'm like, what that like you only have this. There's not even like a sweet pass to be like, it looks bad. Don't look at it. We're just gonna focus on the fin.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the fin. It's only ever the fin. It's crazy.
It's just it's a 3-inch toy that they cleverly put in front of the lens, so it looks.
Clipped onto
Yes,
the lens.
clever.
Hey, whatever works. Whatever works. Yeah. Any last thing before we get into spoilers?
I want to jump right into spoilers.
All right, guys, we're going to jump into spoilers here. This comes out on the 21st of May if you are interested in checking it out. But if not, and you want to hear about more stuff, then stick around. Here we go. Stefan, pick apart all the plot issues.
Let's just start at the beginning. This movie just fucking starts. There's like, and again, is it the screener? Was there credits at all? It started fucking immediately. And this clip we're seeing right now, that is her stabbing an octopus that was thrashing around in a tank. Somehow, for the moment, it flew to the top of the tank so that she could lean over 1 inch to stab it. My goodness.
I was so confused. I'm like, my notes are like, is that the octopus? Is there something else in the tank? Like, what's happening? Like,
Was she just squirting it into the water? And that's how it gets him?
But that
And she-
actress, I was like, Tara Reid looks like shit, and
Oh.
and I was like, she just screams all of her lines and overacts all weird. I was trying to Google like.
Well, she's from Russia with love. What do you want?
Well, I was like, is this some old porn star? Like who is this person? And then I'm like, okay, good, she's dead. So obviously, but then she's not dead. She's in the
No.
whole movie. She survives. Oh my god, it was bothering me so much.
I was
Why is she in the movie?
confused when she showed back up later, and I was like, wait, did the movie get confused and they thought that
They
this
just
character?
reuse an actress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, isn't that the same lady from the beginning? But I guess she just didn't die.
She
just got
flipped
slapped.
so
Slapped
a
hard
little bit.
off of like a 10-foot balcony,
Oh.
like onto her head. And these guys just get gently pulled and apparently killed by poison, but their heads are bashed into the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
I love all of that. But yes, like, were there credits? Did the movie like start? Like it just
So
went.
the
I'm here.
Screener just
Hold
started
on.
immediately.
Okay,
There was no opening
but
credits.
like after that, was there even a middle tier thing? Because
Yeah.
I almost thought that was a different facility. Like until you saw her again, I'm like, this is where the first time it happened. Oh,
Well,
and then it'll be like 10 years later, like it happens here.
It's very confusing because they kill those people at the beginning, and then it's this lady talking to these
I was gonna
people,
say.
Yes.
and it makes it
Yeah.
seem like this happened at a different aquarium.
That's
and
exactly
I was like,
it.
wait, whoa.
I thought the same
But
thing. I was like, oh.
and it's been like 5 or what is it, 3 years since I've watched the first Zoombies, or was it 16 or 18? I can't remember when it came out. But I can't remember. Is that the girl from Eden? Is she from the zoo?
I didn't know when we were watching it, but I think that might be the case.
So like at the time I wasn't
Oh.
looking too closely because I didn't know this was even in the same universe. I knew like it was okay, it's Asylum, but that doesn't mean that things are all like they make lots of
Yeah.
movies. They're not all in the same world. But the idea that this
They are.
is, I'm like, oh sweet, because there's like they're drinking from a mug that says Eden, and I was like, holy shit! And then they mention it, so I was like,
Yeah.
it would have been
Say,
nice if you didn't
wait,
like on the
so-
nose it.
So is that the name of the
Yes,
thing from
Eden
Zoombies?
was the zoo from the first
Exactly.
movie.
and is
So I-
that happening simultaneously or just like around the same time?
I don't think it. Well, I don't remember her making a call to the aquarium during the first movie. I guess it could have happened off screen. I would imagine it was like after the fact when they're like, oh,
Yeah.
everything's dead. Wait a minute, we sent some of that stuff to that. Hey, let me get on the horn.
There's all these drops with the EMTs and everybody saying like, "Oh, homicide's busy over at Eden, being
exactly.
overrun by cats and dogs
Yeah.
and shit." So I don't know how that's meant to fit together, but yeah, I thought the same thing.
It's-
Like, because like to me, all this couldn't be happening at the same facility because Miranda is just calmly gonna like do her like tour / whatever thing and talk to everybody, and I'm like, doesn't she know about the medical emergency, even if it's not like it's killing people yet, right? Doesn't she know that like people are like rushing in for her dead thing? Why, she never mentions that to like the senator guy. She's just like whatever. So I was like, these must be separate things.
I can see not wanting to like talk to the guy that could jeopardize the fun. But
yeah.
let's talk for a moment about how everyone is so casual and blasé about death. They just walk over. Oh, these two were brutally murdered. Something's loose in the zoo. Let's see if we can take care of this. And then like she pages, she's like, oh, blah blah blah. Someone's dead. Oh no. Like there was and oh no is more than she said.
Lockdown.
She just went dead. Like as if they're like special trained secret ops people like walking in on a village. Oh, people are dead. They're working a fish tank. Like I'm so agitated I can't think of the word aquarium. But there's no reason they should be at all comfortable around death. Maybe the security officer used to be a nom or something because she's like fucking cold-hearted. She's like Matthew McConaughey in Reign of Fire in more ways than one. She fucking does that jump across with the horrible green screen to try to kill nothing. She like literally did not do anything. She just jumped off a cliff and fell, and her thing was like, let's make some sushimi, and she didn't even like swing. She just jumped to her death.
Hold on, so like you jump into the end. This is my favorite.
I had to.
This is my favorite part of the movie. Vivica A. Fox is like, calamari, my favorite, and jumps like Matthew McConaughey in Reign of Fire to like ask the octopus a question, right? But it cuts directly to her now falling with no axe, and now she's like on her back falling onto like a giant airbag, which seamlessly or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
And it looked like the water was way further down. Like the perspective is wrong. She just randomly
it's totally
hits
wrong.
This
is like Mel Brooks falling in that movie. Like this is so dumb. This is like the end of Die Hard.
You know
crazy.
why? Because
they just skipped the middle.
She was like, I'm not actually falling. She's just sitting, and then she falls back or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
And
like
they didn't need to do this. That shot served no purpose at all. And to the audience, she was already dead. We thought the octopus already got her in the other scene. You could have just racked it right there.
I disagree. I think it really tied the movie together. I don't know what you're talking about. Look at this shit.
No. Like, while I enjoy it as a viewer who shits on things, if I was making this movie, I'd be like, oh, this is I should pull this out. This doesn't serve me at all.
That's what I'm saying. You're like, hey, did anybody film the middle? We don't have the middle of this scene, guys. We can't. And they're like, leave it in, whatever you have.
Okay. Let me
90 minutes.
Let me ask you this, Lee. If they had these interstitial shots that made the edit a little bit more, it made it better, and took away sequences like this, would it be a better movie? I don't think so. I think it hits its cap already. Like it's a cap here with this whole thing.
Let me answer your question with a question. If they were to do an insert of just throwing a mannequin, would that not make it better and tie the whole thing together? It could even be just a white mannequin from Macy's, and it would be hilarious. It would fill it in, and it would all make sense.
Its head gets knocked off as it's falling and shit like that. Of course.
You're delicious. That would be perfect.
Blonde wig, wearing a polka dot dress, nothing like that at all. Yeah, exactly.
That's a different level of schlock, though.
Lean into it. Do it, right? Don't just be like, whatever.
But at
that
least
makes
that's
me
not
go, wait,
incompetence. That's a choice.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a choice. I don't know. This is a gamble. This is a hard thing to say because then you would have to if you were leaning into something like that where you're throwing mannequins instead of shitty CGI. It's a completely different movie at that point, right?
Yeah.
One that I'd probably find a little more fun, honestly. But
they
it's
could
way
poorly
more
CG her body. It's not like they're not poorly CGing everything else. I don't see where the line is drawn. Does she have in her clause, I cannot be CG'd?
Well, so many things happened off camera, and so much was like not even shown to us. So why are you showing me Vivica A. Fox, falling like that? Just have her run and jump, and then show me tentacles, and that like last bit of the shot where she's like getting pulled under or something, and be like, oh, she couldn't do it, I guess. But to
There
leave
must
out
have
the
been a
middle,
shot that she got
all of it.
whacked by a tentacle that
Yeah.
just didn't work. That
Tentacle
I'm like,
must
okay.
have, like knocked the axe out of her hand and then
yeah.
juggled her a little, and then she fell from even. She seems to be falling from higher than she jumped from. It's like
Who would
amazing.
jump? Who would attempt this? She
Whoa,
has to be a
crazy.
mercenary of justice.
She's not the only one to attempt something like this, though.
This is my
There we
favorite.
go.
He's like the guy from Troy. He's like, I'm Brad Pitt, and then he's just dead.
That's the Troy movie. Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
100%.
Almost exactly. I wrote in my notes, "Happy Death Day."
That was cool in Troy because they like cut a few frames or something. It was like really intense.
Oh,
It
yeah.
didn't really work out too well in this movie, but it was still kind
I
of fun.
love Troy.
I
Yeah.
thought there was a
Might be
setup
watching
and no
Troy.
payoff of like, who do you think would win, a shark or a walrus? Oh, you idiot! Obviously a shark. And you thought that that's gonna happen, or at least the alligator and the
second I
fucking,
saw the walrus.
yeah. And
Or-
nothing.
Or,
It was
or
for
like
no
the
reason.
walrus kills the crocodile, and then he goes, "Well, that's no shark," or something like
Yeah,
that. Have
something.
Some dumb,
These
you're
are
like,
all things that would have been
got him."
great.
What we're getting at is Asylum is well known for their Sharktopus and their Octo whatever the fuck versus Megas Godzilla shit.
Mecha
Yep.
We
thing
need a
versus
walrus.
Hyperdude.
Yeah, we need a
Yeah.
walrus movie.
Well, they
Exactly.
made a reference when they said something where like it seemed like they were that's like alluding to a future movie because he's like it seemed like they were talking about merging them together in that little conversation,
what
and they
you
even took shots at Sharknado, and I was like, okay,
Yeah, they did.
all right.
Did
All
they
right,
not
take
make
shots.
Sharknado though?
This guy worked on Sharknado.
Sci-fi. Well, oh, did he? I didn't look up
Miller, I
anybody
think
from this
it-
movie.
He has some credit on Sharknado.
So
Well, everyone has some credit. I got
I
credit
think
for buying
I
it.
think a Sharknado is an
True.
Asylum movie though too.
Is
So
it
I don't know.
Asylum? I wasn't
It
sure if that was
says-
sci-fi original.
Yeah, it's production sci-fi and the Asylum and
Okay,
Southward
okay.
films. So they, yeah, they're just
Yeah,
beefing
this
on
is
there
the
and shit.
second unit director of Sharknado 2 and 4, and maybe others. I'm not going to check.
Okay. I'll allow that.
Therefore,
So,
highly knowledgeable.
so the whole place gets locked down because an octopus goos the desk. That
No.
that has the computer
I
system.
believe that is the first sign of trouble, but the actual lockdown starts once the glass breaks, which we
Oh.
all know is if a building is flooding with water and dangerous animals, they would seal it off so you couldn't escape.
I
There's a part where the EMT is like, "We got to get in there. Those people could be up to their knees in it." And I'm like, "What?"
The best part of that is that eventually when he really wants to get in, he suddenly has keys. And I'm
No,
like,
it's
well,
so
what the
dumb.
fuck? Did you have keys the whole time? I'm pretty sure the fire department has keys to every building, commercial building, period. Or they're in those little, like, what are they called? Like Jerry boxes or whatever outside. But
It's the idea of
that he
knee-high
couldn't get
water
in.
being the crisis, where he's like, "God damn it, we got to get in there." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?"
they made it no, but the
They
one
don't know about the
scene,
zombie animals.
the one scene, the lady's like, "Let's go back that way," and she's like, "You can't. The pressure will kill you." And I was like, "The
Yeah.
pressure of what? There's not that much water, is
The
there?"
pressure of
Pressure of-
writing a good movie.
the pressure
pressure
of
of,
writing different scenes for the script.
Yeah, the pressure of pretending that you're in a room that's flooding when there's nothing. There's a point where they say, "We can't go that way. Look at all the water." But like, they're just in like a hallway where like and then it cuts back to them and everything's dry over here, and then it's like cuts back there and there's like
Yeah,
stuff
all
floating
clear.
and
It's not even
water.
wet.
It's like, what's
They get to
happening?
they get to the front door at one point,
Amazing.
and she touches it by the top part, and she's like, it's locked. But below that is the handle that says push to open. And I'm like, well, if you don't touch the handle, you can't actually leave.
Movie
Yeah.
magic.
Look, the script is very specific in getting you from hallway to hallway where different animals are. Starfish, sharks, walruses, crocodiles. That's pretty much what we got, right? Although the shark, they talk
They show
up
a badass
so
seal.
much.
Yeah, we
They
never
do
see
show a
sharks do
badass.
anything.
But they keep talking it up like they
Seals
can't go
their
that way
actions,
because the Makos and then they're just sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
There
They're,
it is.
they're,
Comes
they're
up.
like dead somehow, and I'm like, wait a minute, where'd the water go that was in there? Where did the
Yes.
rest? They say, where are the rest of them? Where are the rest of them? I don't know.
And then we have
That's not even paid off. We never see any more.
No, they didn't merge
No,
together
you're
to make
right,
some
we
sort of
don't.
super shark. That you didn't see
my
that the
God.
octopus
Well,
killed them. They're
but
just
the-
gone.
the Zoombies movie didn't have like a combination monster by the end, did it?
No, that was me joking about horrible movies. No, they did not do
Yeah,
that.
okay,
But there
alright.
was like a parade of them like going down the fucking way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the starfish crawling along, that's pretty cool. I don't think starfish actually do that, though.
Well, they do move in a similar fashion. I don't know if they could do that out of the water though.
Okay. All right. So So they got it
Well,
right.
she's immediately like, crush them. We must.
And it's more like I think it's like a centimeter every like hour. It's not a thing where like they're crawling like they're fucking spiders.
Oh god, and they do the zombie movie thing where someone's bitten but doesn't say it, but they just lampshade it where she's like, I didn't want to tell anybody because like we gotta move, we gotta keep moving, we gotta go, but I have a giant starfish on me the whole time. It's like sucking my blood and infecting
That was
me
funny.
They say that she died. It's been feeding on her for so long. It's this big. Where did it eat? It couldn't have drained. How much? Even if it drained 100% of its body weight worth of blood, it would be like, oof, that was a deep cut. But here I am.
But they did, in a passed over line, explain that because they are undead, their I wrote it down. What did I write? Something about their toxins are now more potent.
Yes, but starfish don't have toxin to get more potent.
In this movie, they do.
They do in this movie. Yeah. That's
In this movie, canonically.
Look, in this movie, you can't destroy the glass that holds a fish tank, but a little fish can destroy it, which makes no sense to me.
That was a team of fish all moving at the same time, she said. So it's coordinating. We gotta go.
Well, it has a beak. Right there.
Do you have a beak?
No.
And I could see like it's definitely probably easier to break it from the inside because you have the water wanting to leave.
That's
but
true.
Still, yes, it is designed to not let fish break it. So what do you mean? And there's a part where they're like the electric fence that surrounds the outside, and I'm like, yep, all aquariums are surrounded by electric fences. At one point, our boy rubs his shoulder against it as he's leaving, and I'm like, you just said it was electric, you fuck. And behind them, the whole time they're saying like, he's like, can we get a ladder? No, we don't have one. How about we move the benches? They're bolted down. There's like a utility box right next to the fence that you could just step onto and jump right over. It is like a 6.5-foot fence. It is not an issue. It's the whole thing of any movie just because plot is holding you there. Why not say there's a force field? The fish, they're using telekinesis. Like, if you just want me there and don't care about realism, say anything. Don't put them outside.
Are you saying you can talk to fish? No, I'm saying fish can talk to us. Ah! Yeah. No, I think the part that you're missing, though, is that this is an obvious love story between Daniel and Skylar, and I was waiting for this to be paid off because it was amazing. They bond for like a long time.
I was not expecting him to die.
No.
Especially the way he did. It seemed like they were going to be like the fun ones that live, and it turns out that Skylar's the bad... Not Skylar, what's his face? Is the bad guy. And you're like okay, this chump... But you kind of got a little inkling of something's not right. The way he like blows off that phone call. Now we're all good. See ya. I'm like, all right. You're at work.
I thought Skylar was gonna like tend to his wounds, and he was gonna be like carrying him out at the end, and then they were gonna kiss, and he was gonna be like, "I told you this scar would get me laid," and he's like, "Not so fast." There would be this like fun little banter thing, but no, he dies, and Daniel turns out to be the bad guy. It was like a double whammy of like not gonna happen.
It was a little tragic. Yeah, not gonna lie. Hey,
tragedy for sure.
I mean,
but yeah, this Andrew WK guy with the axe is constantly attacking everything the whole time.
The axe they get from the children's area. Did you catch that?
Was that really?
They're in the children's area where there's an exposed sharp axe just on the wall.
For emergencies.
The crab thing. So like,
what
you would expect.
Okay, but the emergency axe can't actually be used for anything in the emergency because you can't do anything when there's an emergency. You can't get out the doors. You can't break anything.
Well, it's also on a like submarine-esque ship. Everything's metal. What are you axing?
I don't know.
It's only for crab emergencies. You would think though during these lockdowns, which an aquarium wouldn't have, but it seems like they all have in place for a like chemical biological agent being released, a perfect lockdown to stop this from spreading into the world. He like baseball bats, like he's Ken Griffey Jr., a crab directly into the ocean to spread the disease. So you know there's going to be a sequel.
That's a good point.
Not only does he yeet that crab like a mile away, but yes. They say multiple times, we can't let any of the animals out. And I just wanted it to cut to that guy with being like, oh, okay, fine.
It should have cut to the end where a fisherman fishes up that crab and attacks his face and then cut to credits.
Yeah, I did expect there to be some after credits thing. But what are you gonna do? I'm sure they will make a sequel to this because they already have they have more things like to use than they used in this movie because we only got a few seconds of certain fish and the seal, etc. It's free. Just do more. Yeah. I'm sure some expanded pack will come out with all kinds of wildlife. They can just make the eyes white and bam, do a whole new movie.
There's a new Zoombies movie, Zoombies 3.
Hell yeah! Gotta watch 2.
I gotta watch 2, but Zoombies 3
I gotta watch 1.
You gotta watch 1.
One's a
Yeah.
treat.
I will argue against a little bit, Stefan. You were complaining about the plot and why didn't they just make up blah 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 to keep them in there? But I feel like that's pretty much what they did do.
No, that my joke is you can certainly say these things, but look where you're filming. Aim the other direction. Maybe don't go outside. Once you're outside, it's
Gotcha.
on a main road. Help!
Yeah.
Oh, help! Why do the cell phones not work all of a sudden? That's just breezed over. Oh, the cell phones don't work. They've worked there potentially for years. They should know if they have service or not. Oh, I have no service. Squids. There's no reason. Like,
The squid took the cell phone. He's cloning the SIM card. He's gonna
I-
steal my identity.
What I wish is that they had more set pieces where they could highlight the creatures more.
and destroy things.
It's always just not even like do some sort of fun scenario, not just we're in the hallway. Oh, now there's a crocodile. Oh, we're in the hallway. Now there's a walrus. Oh, we're in the hallway. Now there's crabs or starfish. It's like, get me out
Let's
somewhere
be clear,
else.
like it's the actors pointing, oh no, we can't go that way,
Yeah.
and then just cutting to the reverse shot of a hallway with the exact same, footage of the exact same crocodile moving the exact same
In the
copy and
same
pasted
hallway
in there,
sometimes. Where you're
doing
like,
its
wait a minute.
thing, right?
How did
With
you
the
how did
walrus
we
or the
end up here?
crocodile.
How is that thing still behind us? Where did we go? How are we in the movie theater room 3 times?
Yeah, like they run through this way and then turn around and go, oh no, he's there now. What happened? Oh no, it's like there's several scenes of them sneaking past or them sneaking past animals or whatever. It's very.
Well, the animals are
I would have
blind.
liked more, set pieces like you're saying of like stuff breaking or people getting out or like, oh no, because they have the veterinarian thing, they have the exhibits, and they have the actual like terrariums or whatever. They could have done more things in theory.
More set pieces, more people to kill, because they shoehorn in like almost all the kills right at the end,
Yeah.
and they're like that.
The bonus of Zoombies is they had a full fucking zoo.
Yeah, and I don't remember all of it, but I do remember it being a little bit more, I don't know, I guess entertaining, just generally entertaining, because they're out.
They
in
weren't
that
as
zoo
restricted.
and
Here they're very
yeah,
limited.
Yeah, so would I be excited for Aquarium of the Dead too? Probably. Why not, right?
Oh, definitely. And potentially they'll learn from some of their mistakes here. Like, in general, having people on set to film things would be helpful. There's a part where the doctor, she just goes, the doctor, oh, she'll meet us, while they go into the ducts. And I'm like, what does that mean? Where did she go? We don't see her again until they get out of the ducts where she's magically there. And I'm like, gosh, she just wasn't there that day.
She'll be.
He says she'll meet us there, and the senator's like, "What?" And I was like, "Wait, is there another way to go that only the doctor can go? Why is she going a different way?"
She
He's
wasn't
like,
there that day.
he's all
I'm
pissed
sure
off.
that's what it
Yeah,
was.
Exactly.
Oh, she has food poisoning. Filming without her. Say something. She'll meet us there.
What did
Wait on
you
her
guys?
COVID test.
What did you guys think of the lead actress?
I didn't dislike her. She seemed
Yeah.
very, competent for this role.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was getting ready to be like Dr. Babe over here, thinks she can, but yeah, she's like fine, almost boringly so. She's like Claudia Black looking. She's just like a normal. I was like, nothing
Claudia Black.
noteworthy.
Who's Claudia Black?
Sorry.
Rebecca Belhack's mom.
Farscape.
Yeah.
Oh, and she's in Pitch Black. I do recognize this lady. Okay.
You know what was a standout for me in this? One of the EMTs, the younger EMT, I couldn't look away from his beard. His beard was like I was like, is it fake? It was like so immense. Like,
This guy?
yeah, wait till he turns like from a front on shot at this guy. It like doesn't look like it's his beard.
Yeah, it looks
a
like
prop
felt or
department
something
Put it
just
on
put
his
on
face. Like when Steve Carell has a full beard, you're like, wait a minute, what? How's that? What?
I did. It's very nicely maintained and trimmed. I'll just
It's
say that.
perfect. That's what
Yeah,
the problem is.
Because they got it off of like a prop thing.
'Cause
and just
it's
were like,
He
glued on.
skinned a
Put it
mink
onto
and just
him.
glued it onto his head.
They skinned a guy with a beard. And put it on his face. I hated the EMTs so much, and how they kept cutting to them and everything.
Why didn't
It's
they
just
have
like-
them come in and get murdered?
Why didn't they have anything an EMT would have? Are they just wandering minstrel EMTs? They just walk around the downtown. Oh yeah, we're half an hour. Do you have like things? If there's actually a problem, they're supposed to be the fire department. Actually, not even EMTs. And like, there's no fire truck. They have no gear. They're approaching a potential fire in just civvies. Like,
I feel like we may be being a little harsh on Aquarium of the Dead.
I don't think I am, because all the issues are things they wrote. You didn't have to write these things. You had an aquarium. You had competent CG. You could have just tailored it to what you had. You didn't have to have the movie open with zombies. Like any normal movie, you could have had like 30 minutes of exposition and bullshit. We're like, oh, no, we've had too many complaints. Give me all your cell phones. Okay, they're going to be in this locker, blah, 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 blah. And then bam, the cell phones are gone. And then you do this thing, oh, we're doing a VIPs. Very important. Like, you just do your thing like that. Run it through. Don't open it with the Kraken is unleashed.
True, but if they are restricted of where they can use and they're basically confined to a few hallways, that is challenging to write something that is compelling. Like,
the movie could have started off at her house. It didn't have to be in the aquarium the whole time. You know, you're limited because you are limiting. Like, yes, you can only use these rooms, so we're gonna make the whole movie in those rooms. No, I mean you could use other places in the world. Just when you're in the aquarium, just these rooms. We can only use these rooms.
Nope,
I got
only these rooms. No, do you think COVID had anything to do with this? Was this filmed during this last year?
I don't know.
And they explain why Vivica was like, "I'm not going to be near."
I won't be near any of these motherfuckers.
Maybe that is a factor. Maybe they had to be like confined with each other, and then to make this movie, and that's why it's all. You're right, because it could have started out with our doctor like going for a jog or something, because she's like real muscular and ripped by the end, and doing like, and you could have showed a little bit of that, or athletic side, and she could have got a phone call. Like, you could have done a lot of stuff. You're right.
You could have made it into like a movie.
Oh.
Basically, right?
Zing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's probably about 45 minutes here of actual plot, and then some filler.
That's what we're talking about. Like a lot of these scenes where they argue about why they can't get the door open, or where they have to go next, or why this isn't going to work, or how the glass, like all that stuff was put in, if not to literally stretch it, just to like create like the story in the middle of the stuff conflict, that should not take that long. It should be like, running from place to place, right?
Instead of being in a horrible lockdown, maybe just there keeps being creatures in the ways you have to go. Oh, the water. Oh, it's flooded. Other things like, because when you show me like near like when he says, "Oh, this is 2 feet thick glass. You can't possibly break it." Like, well, I don't think the senator said we should break through the aquarium glass. I think he meant break the office window and leave outside. I don't think he was going for a swim. He's not Aquaman. Like, I don't understand the things here. Like, no, it's not 2 foot thick on the door. The door's not 2 foot thick.
Why isn't there a scene where people are swimming? It's a fucking aquarium. Come on. Swim across. You have to swim across the shark.
Well, because it's an actual aquarium. They couldn't actually swim.
I know why.
No, but that's what I meant earlier, where it's like, well, they couldn't have cut to their fake. I think maybe at the end that is it, with like a fake pool set. I don't know if that basement is also at the aquarium. There we go. A lot of pipes. It's like a pipe factory. But like
this is on that boat. I think that was the outside set.
Yeah, it's the underbelly of the boat. Yeah.
So, like, maybe just have a whole sequence there where it's like, oh, the octopus has gotten onto the submarine, the nuclear reactor is going to go melt. Just get us there so we're hanging out there with the monsters instead of
problem with that. The problem with that scene is that it reminded me of a much better movie with much better effects from the 90s called Deep Rising.
Deep Rising, that's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, remind me of a couple like that,
Yeah.
With my boy Treat.
He is always one. He is always one. Yes, the Treat Williams. Anything else?
Yes, he is.
Anything else, guys?
I'm gonna think Lee hit on the head. But I think COVID was 100% related to this, because he didn't have any random people for deaths. There was no school trip happening. They purposely made it during the the 4 hours of this aquarium. I think COVID was a big factor. There's no extras. There's no there's no meat for these the potatoes here to be roasted.
There's no extras. And you're right, because and those EMT guys being kind of off on their own as well. There's a bunch of suspicious things here that kind of do speak to maybe it's a COVID movie.
But there was an outside scene with the EMTs walking, and I don't recall anyone in the background having masks on. And you're outside, and potentially, if this was shot in Florida, nobody would have masks on anyway. But there was
you're not allowed to wear masks in Florida.
Yeah, they banned them.
No, it explains why people are potentially so sequestered and like split apart. I usually don't mind that. I like a small movie with like a small cast, but you have to really dig deeper into it, and this movie's not really capable of doing that. So it ends up just coming off like waiting for these people to die, and you're like, uh-oh.
Fun fact though, this scene right here, if you wait, Vivica A. Fox, you can see behind her, she's actually standing at her house.
Wait, is that true? Is that
I don't know. Probably.
She's on Zoom for this scene.
I'm like, she let that Russian doctor at her house?
They green screen Skyped. Yeah, they used a green screen and Skyped her in for her death scene. Oh man.
Yeah, that seems obvious just by looking at this.
She's just in an office chair, just like wheeling herself back on Zoom, and they just took the shot.
When you sent me that trailer, though, I did think, like, I was like, wow, this actually looks pretty good.
The trailer looks stellar. I was super
Right.
excited. I will say I was less hyped as the movie went on, mostly because it opens, like, it's such a cold open of like, what the what?
Yeah.
That like it can easily deflate your balloon a little bit.
It opens like an episode of a sci-fi TV show where it's cold
Yeah.
open and you're waiting for the text to come in and be like, asshole's name, blah, blah, blah. You
No,
know
like
what I
that
mean?
would happen. Then you'd hear the guitar, the Buffy theme would play,
Yeah.
and it would be them going, "Oh, so we're gonna go to the aquarium on a field trip today."
Right,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
David Boreanaz says, "I hate fish," and then they're like, "Okay," and it's like Langley, 1,400 hours, and it's like, "We need you to go here to the aquarium and bust some ghosts, folks." Yeah.
All right.
Overall, though, not the worst low budget movie I've seen
No.
by far. I think for a group watch, it's more than
Fine.
serviceable. I think it's a lot of what the fuck scenes and like laughing at what it is, and some of the bits are funny. The visuals are interesting, but as a movie, like again, if you're a casual person, you should never
No.
even
yeah.
approach this.
If you're a real person, you
Yeah,
cannot watch this.
I think in premise, it's really pretty good. This
Oh,
could
the
be a
premise is
great,
fantastic.
Great time. If you had more of a budget and you went for it in a more adult way with a bunch of gory kills and stuff and actually utilize all the aquarium stuff and not been guests in it, that would have been cool. And this could have been really something special. This isn't that movie, but they did something.
Yeah,
Movie
imagine,
2,
like,
if it had money, would be the Earth is ravaged, the seas are all dead, it's coming onto the land, there are no animals you could escape, and it's like a few survivors in like Alaska. That's
Yeah,
the
the
movie I wanna
the
see.
cold open. Someone is scared of like a puddle, and you don't know why, and then it turns
Oh,
into this whole
shit.
escalated thing. No, like imagine a real movie, like like you're saying, Chris, with like lighting coming through it. It's like emergency lighting, and there's like a tank,
Yeah.
and something's in it, and you don't know what it is yet, and the lights coming through, and everyone's like waiting for the thing if it's gonna come or not, and it's all suspenseful. This is just like flat, like diorama looking, flatly lit,
Yeah.
just bang, bang, bang shots. I hated this movie.
I was waiting for the scene where they're looking down a dimly lit hallway, and then you see the shadowy
Something.
figure come, and it looks huge, and then it finally comes around. It's a little penguin or something.
That
Everybody,
was
Yeah.
wonderful. They had great shots of animals from the actual aquarium. It was just sad that you didn't get to see all those animals, as zombies.
yeah.
There's a very clear split between like they let us film this tank for 5 seconds, and then later, like jellyfish.
The
in
jellyfish in the background,
or
yeah.
jellyfish, right? But then there's never zombie jellyfish.
No.
And we didn't talk about this, and we're wrapping up, but these animals, while they're undead, are just normal.
Kind
Right?
of. They're not
That
really
attack.
Blind.
by
Not
making
zombie.
them blind and
Yes.
attacking sound. It's a weird thing for fish type animals because I'm not sure how well they hear outside of water.
Anyways.
Because water conducts that sound, and they're like picking up them frequencies and shit. So I'm wondering outside of water that it's like, like what is that? There should be things of them like attacking like the water dispenser because it's like the refrigerator part turns on if they're just going for sound.
Oh, you
'cause we
could
don't
do
really
the
see
tremors
that.
like they're so smart because they're so stupid. The octopus like destroyed the backup generator or something. Yeah, you could
They
do
keep
those.
calling them smart, and I'm like, what did they display that was smart ever?
They broke the glass.
They coordinated. And
Is
broke the
that
glass.
smart? Hobos break
Now it
glass.
is. But do they coordinate
Only smart ones. Only smart ones.
with a top level hobo?
I've often said those those tornadoes are smart as a whip. They destroy all the glass.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Kinda. Set your expectations.
I think
Exactly.
I think the title alone, right? You know what you're getting into.
yeah.
And if you're an aficionado, you just say, "Hey, it's one of those movies, new bad movies that kind of look like a movie when you just glance at them, and then if you pay more attention, you're like, oh, this isn't a movie. This is just a fun thing, whatever."
All right, guys. That's it. That's it for Aquarium of the Dead. Lee, Stefan, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Everybody go check out Cannibal video on them YouTubes. What do you guys got coming up?
Oh, we'll be putting out this Friday a review of Jurassic Park. Everyone's seen Jurassic Park, but have you seen us rip
Wow.
apart Jurassic Park? I don't think so.
You guys are going big movies
You're
now.
very nitpicky.
We've turned a corner for a couple things. Well, because it's a movie everybody knows. We're not just sitting there fangirling about it. We talk about a couple of the good things, but mainly we're bringing up the issues, the problems, the fun things, having a good time with the conversation. But you can check us out at www.cannibal.video for all your video needs, or www.cannibalvideo.com for merch.
There you go. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining me. And that's going to do it for Aquarium of the Dead. Catch you here next time.
Awesome.
Goodbye.